Have you been thinking about moving to the Tampa Bay area, but you put it off because you were unsure about where the market is headed? If you're interested in the state of the current market in Tampa, then you're going to want to watch this video. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into my channel, Living in Tampa, where it's my goal to show you everything you need to know about eating, sleeping, playing, and living in the greater Tampa Bay area. Hey, if it's your first time here, you know what to do. Please click that subscribe button, ring the little bell so you'll be notified every time I release a new video. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you firsthand experience about the Tampa Bay market. Right now it's the end of August. I can't believe it's already the end of August. Kids are back in school. Summer is pretty much over. A lot has changed here in the past few months. I actually got to experience it firsthand, not only as a real estate agent, but also as someone selling their home, because we just made a big move. Our youngest went off to college, so we are now officially empty nesters, and we have this big, huge house over in Land O'Lakes, just north of Tampa, that we had to sell. And unfortunately, we waited just a little bit too long to put it on the market. I wanted to wait for school to get out. I knew the market was kind of cooling, but I didn't realize, even being in the industry myself, just how quickly that was going to happen. And it really did kind of scare us, because when we put our house on the market, instead of the multiple offers that I had been seeing for so many months and years, really a couple years, where it was just craziness, and as soon as you listed something, it was multiple offers, you know, people paying appraisal gaps, people paying way more than list price. And we put our house on the market and it was kind of crickets for a little bit. So I was like, oh my gosh, we waited too long, we missed it. But luckily we did end up getting a buyer. We did have to adjust our price a little bit. Likely did not get near as much as we probably would have had we listed about a month earlier. But, you know, there are some things out of your control, and you just have to do what you have to do. And I was not willing to, you know, have my daughter be driving over an hour to go to school and all those kind of things. So we waited to put our house on the market. We did get it sold. Good price. I'm happy with it. No regrets. But just a personal illustration of how quickly the market shifted, even for someone who is here firsthand dealing in real estate every day. I am a full-time real estate agent, and just seeing how fast this all happened was astounding. So right now, where are things at? If you're thinking about moving, this is probably something you're wondering. If you're thinking about Tampa, it's actually a much better time for you if you are moving here and you're looking to buy. And there's several reasons why. I'm going to cover that. The very first reason is our inventory. So I am pulling this information from 4 counties that comprise Greater Tampa. Those counties consist of Pinellas County, where I currently reside. That's where our beaches are. Hillsborough County, which is like the main county of Tampa, where Tampa itself is located, and downtown Tampa, all of that. And then I'm also including Pasco County, which is north of Tampa, and Hernando County, which is north of Tampa. So those are the 4 counties that are included in these numbers that I'm giving you today. And these are based on July numbers, the latest numbers that we have, that I was able to get from the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors. So according to the data that I found there, inventory numbers have gone up exponentially. So we are increased inventory of 85%. That is a lot. So if you were looking before and had kind of given up because there just was nothing that was working for you, or there was just not much to choose from, things have definitely changed in that regard. When you look at last July, we had less than a month worth of inventory. A healthy market, keep in mind, a healthy real estate market is about 5 to 6 months of inventory. So even with this increase of 85% in homes right now, our inventory is still only sitting at 1.9 months. So even though there is a lot more to choose from, there's not enough houses on the market to to cover all the buyers. So we are still in an inventory crisis, and I think that that's kind of what's keeping this market going at a healthy rate. But the best thing that I wanted to let you know was if you were looking before and were frustrated, because this inventory has increased, now is a much better time for you to try to buy. The number 2 data point that I want to go over with you is the pending sales. This is going to show you just how much actually this market has cooled here in this past few months compared to July of last year. So in this July, compared to last July, the number of homes that went pending or under contract has decreased by 19%. That's a pretty large decrease. And when you couple that, with that increased inventory, it's just kind of led to what seemed like a complete standstill in the market to a lot of us. Now, it's definitely not, because there are still a lot of homes being sold. I mean, 19% down is significant, but there are still a lot of homes that are being sold, and it is still a healthy market. And the third, and probably the most important data point in this, is that the prices have still gone up. So a lot of people that I talked to that were maybe looking before decided to wait, and now I call them and they're like, I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for prices to come down. Well, what I've had to do is give people a reality check, and we don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. I just go off of what I'm seeing experts predicting. And on my background, I do have a degree in business, international business from the University of Georgia, go Dogs. And I do understand the basic laws of supply and demand. I think most of us understand that. It's not rocket science. So although the prices, you are seeing a lot of price decreases, the sales prices themselves have not really gone down at all. They've actually gone up. Compared to July of last year, prices went up 23%. So the average price of the homes sold this July was $505,000. That's significantly higher than it's been in the past. And the prices are only predicted to continue to go up. And why is that? Even when this market is kind of decelerating, slowing down, why are experts still predicting prices to go up? Well, again, it's that basic law of supply and demand. We're sitting at 1.9 months of inventory. That is not enough homes on the market. And when there's not enough of something, the prices always tend to go up. So of course there is something that could happen. I can't say with 100% certainty that this trend is going to continue. But what I will say is that experts tend to agree that prices are going to go up. And not only that, but the interest rates are also predicted to go up. So if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're waiting to buy, I think that's not the greatest idea. I think you really need to look at the bigger picture, because if the interest rates increase just a little bit, that's going to affect your payment a lot more than if prices come down 1% or 2%. And again, no one is even predicting that to happen. They're actually predicting the prices to continue to go up, albeit at a slower rate. So what we're experiencing right now is a deceleration. So just picture yourself if you were in a car driving, you've got your cruise control maybe set on a highway, you're on a road trip. You set your cruise control to, let's say 80, because I'm going to assume the speed limit's 75 and you're going just a little bit over it. And then you see a cop on the side of the road and you hit the brakes and you take that cruise control off and you get it down. And even though you slow down just maybe 5 or 10 miles slower than what you were before, it seems like such a big slowdown. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. We just had so many months of bidding wars, so many months of, hey, this house is in the market, let's go see it right now before it's sold. So much frenzy that now that that frenzy has kind of died down, it feels like, oh my gosh, the market is crashing, and it's actually not crashing. And another data point that kind of supports what I just said is when you look at the sales price to list price ratio. And basically what that is how much are people getting in comparison to what they were listed at. And that is still sitting at 100%. Now granted, a few months ago, I think it was sitting more at 104, 105% average. I mean, there were a lot of people that were getting a lot more than that. But averages, we're speaking averages here. We're still sitting at 100%. So the prices really haven't gone down a whole lot at all. You will see price reductions, and I think what you're seeing when that's coming into your inbox, or if you're following Zillow or Realtor.com and you're getting these notifications of, price reduction, seemingly flooding your inbox, I think what's happening a lot of times is sellers are still thinking it's a seller's market, and they're setting their original list price too high, and then they're realizing that, hey, I don't have 10 offers on the table on my first day. I'm going to have to do something different to get my house sold, and they're having to be realistic with their price, and you're seeing those price reductions coming on the market every day. But the prices in general have been holding steady and still increasing. Now the average sold price in July was $505,000. But I do want to point out that the median sales price in Tampa is still about $415,000. So it's still affordable here. Granted, it's not near as affordable as it was a few years ago, but Tampa is definitely still an affordable place to live if you are thinking about making a move to Florida. And then the last data point that I want to cover today is the time on market, because that also plays a role in all of this data that I'm sharing with you. And then I'm going to kind of go into what that means for you if you're a buyer and if you're a seller. So the time on market right now has increased. So it was last year in July, it was 6 days. This year it's 8 days. So that doesn't seem like a large increase. And I do want to say that's that greater Tampa area, that whole area. So there will be pockets in Tampa where, you know, it has really slowed dramatically and the time on market is going to be a lot higher. That is an average. So keep that in mind. I have noticed personally that the higher priced homes seems to be the ones that are taking longer to sell. So the people that are in that higher price bracket have maybe really pulled the reins in and are really reconsidering or just holding off before they're making that purchase. Because they've got a little bit more time. They know that homes aren't selling as quickly as they were, and they can actually, wait a few days before going to see it, and maybe even get a chance to go back a second time and see it before making an offer. But those homes that are in the lower price points, like under 400, those are still selling extremely quickly, and that's why that average is sitting so low still. When you balance that higher market time with that lower market time and average it all together, it's coming out to about 8 days. So that's still a really great market, whether you're buying or selling, and I want to share with you from those standpoints why. So if you are a buyer and you're looking to buy in the Tampa, Florida area, what does this new market mean for you? Well, basically it means you're going to have a lot more to choose from than you did if you were looking like a year ago and you were getting discouraged. Now would be a good time for you to jump back into that market. You're also going to have more time to choose. So if you're coming from out of state, you might actually be able to fly in and look at properties in person. This was really not happening back when the market was hot. A lot of people were having to buy sight unseen because they didn't have time to come down and see a property before it would sell. So now you might have a little more time to be able to do that, especially if you're in a higher price point. Also, less competition. So you're not going to be competing against 20 or 30 offers like you were before. It still can be quite competitive depending on the price point, but there's going to be a less number of offers. So if you're looking in the $400,000 price point, if it's a really nice home that's been updated in a great area, you're probably still going to end up in a multiple offer situation, but you might be competing just with maybe 1 or 2 other offers out there. And in the higher price points, a lot of times you're not seeing multiple offers at all. And what that leads to is negotiating power. So because some homes are sitting on the market longer and sellers are wanting to get them sold, you might actually be able to negotiate with the seller regarding the price, or maybe getting some closing costs paid on your behalf. You might be able to have a contingency. So you may be able to say, I have my house that I have to sell, or you'll be able to use these loans that in the past the sellers wouldn't even look at, like a VA loan or an FHA loan. No one wanted to mess with that because they had so many cash offers that, if someone came with a VA loan or an FHA loan, they were like, no, I'm going to go with cash. Well, not so much anymore. So if that's you, if you have a VA loan or an FHA loan that you were looking to use, now you can do that again. And last but not least, what I want to stress to you as a buyer, if you're still on the fence, but you are 100% going to be buying, I would say to do it now. I think if you wait, you're going to regret it, because those rates, again, the interest rates are expected to continue to rise, and the prices are expected to continue to rise. So when you couple those two things together, even if only one of them happens, you're still going to end up with a higher monthly payment, more money out of your pocket if you wait. So if you are on the fence, go ahead and jump off and get started looking to buy. And real quickly, I know most of the people that watch my videos are not sellers, so I'm just going to keep this really quick. I think most people that are watching this are looking to move here and buy a home. But if you by chance are a seller, I did want to point out what this new market means to you as a seller. There is more competition out there because we have more inventory, so there's more homes on the market. Gosh, a good example of that would be when I went to sell my house. Before, there would only be maybe one house on the market in my entire community. Now, I lived in a master plan community that has about 1,100 homes in it, and there would be one on the market. Well, now there's more like 10 or 12 homes on the market at any given time in that community. So you've got a little bit more competition, which when you have more competition, you definitely need to get that price right. You don't want to be one of those sellers who's having to make a price reduction day after day after day. You need to go into that market right at the right price. Now, when the market first shifted, a lot of people didn't realize, how quickly it was shifting, and people were still trying to capitalize, get the most money they could. And, I don't blame them. I was one of them. But, if I were listing my home now, I would probably go in at a totally different price than what I went in, back in June. The market is changing that fast. So if you are thinking about selling again, you want to do that sooner rather than later, because it is, especially if you're in a higher price bracket, because it's going to get that much harder for buyers that are financing. And the higher the price, the more those raised interest rates make a difference. So if you're looking to sell your house, you've got to be willing to negotiate, you've got to get your price right, and you need to have your house in tip-top shape. Buyers are back to where they're getting picky. They want everything to be pretty. They don't want to, be paying these high prices with high interest rates and then have to come in and do a whole bunch of work. So keep all of that in mind. If you are thinking about selling, reach out to me. If you're thinking about buying, I would love to help you. If you are thinking about moving to the Tampa Bay area, give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. Whichever method of communication you prefer is fine. If you're a seller or if you're a buyer, if you are thinking about making a move, go ahead and give me a call, send me a text, shoot me an email. Whichever method of communication you prefer is fine with me. When it comes to moving to Tampa, I've got your back. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I hope this information was valuable. If you could hit that like button for me, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time.